Good morning. Welcome to the River Blackwater in southern Hampshire. Fishing this swim, I won't give the area away. There's two Blackwaters in Hampshire. One's in North Hampshire and this one's in southern Hampshire. Got a lovely overcast morning. Hoping for some roach, maybe some chub on this small river, perch. Fishing this first swim, it's got a long run as you can see here, with the fast flowing water coming through, moving into some slower water just down there, hopefully where the fish will be sitting. And it just slows up again in that corner there, and there's an overhanging bush. Gonna fish a mixture of the float this morning, and I've got a rod with a quiver tip as well, so I think we'll start there and let's see how we get on. I'm just going to show you the setup I've got on the quiver tip. So using the ever trusty Drennan puddle chucker quiver tip, really nice sensitive tip on that. 6 pound line, main line through to a Shimano 2500 reel, and really simple on the end here. So I've got a swivel with a loop of line and a couple of shot on, bounce that round, free running. Another swivel there with some fluorocarbon on. I think that's probably about size 16 hooks. I'm just going to pinch a bit of bread flake on that. Been feeding this side here, so hopefully we'll get a little roach or chub. Did you say this? Oh, lovely kingfisher this flew past there. Don't think we've got that on camera, but love these small rivers. Haven't fished this one very much. You can see it's autumn now. The river's a couple of inches higher than normal. It's normally a bit slacker in here. You see it hasn't been fished much. Don't think it's a very heavily fished stretch anyway. I just love these little rivers. You never know what's in them. Forgot my rod rest unfortunately, so I'm going to have to try and balance that on my leg at the moment, and hopefully we can get something just in this side here. Perfect, just let a little bit of line out. Just let that flow round just underneath that fish. It's nicely settled there, and if we get a bite, it's not going to feel a lot of resistance. There really is these tips are lovely, these glass tips. They just bend round. As I say, we will get the float on as soon as we can as well. I'm going to rove around a little bit this morning. With this small river fishing, from experience, I found you get a couple of fish out if you're lucky, and here we go, it's a bite. And we're onto a fish. It's only small, but it's a fish. Don't need the net for that one. Just about swing her in. And there we go, guys. First little roach of the day. Pristine Southern River Blackwater roach. Lovely. Switched over to the caster because I want a bit quieter on the bread. Got a fish on. Feels slightly better than the last one. Not sure what it is yet. I think it's a roach. It is. I need the net on this one. I've still got the other one in the net. Slightly larger one. Just pop the hook out on. There we are, another lovely pristine little Blackwater roach. Lovely markings on the fins. Obviously it's done a little bit of a mark there. Looks like something's had a little small go at it. Again, we'll keep that back in the net there. I just love these small rivers. Kind of where it all started for me 30 odd years ago. Well, not this particular river, but a small river. Always had a fascination with them, as I'm sure a lot of people watching this video have. It's not I don't like lakes, I do, but there's something about a small river. Fish can go wherever they like. Got to search for them, and when you get pristine little roach like that, How can you not be happy, eh? Getting a bit rusty at this. I've been fishing 30 years. I think I'll leave it better by that by now. Never mind. Couldn't get those fish upstream, unfortunately, so I had to put them downstream by about 50 yards. I forgot to mention some of the baits I got today as well. So I've got some maggot and caster in my bucket here. The casters because there've been maggots in there for quite a while, so by default really. And a bit of gross guard on mixed in there from when I fished at Hampshire last week. So just throwing that on the inside, letting that drift down into this flat bit here. Got bread as well, and I've got some more maggot, and I do have some dendrobina worms as well, which I've got left over from another session. Hope to save them for some perch, maybe a little bit later on either here or somewhere else, see how the day goes. I'm still getting little taps, but could be that those smaller fish have just dropped in now. So we'll give it another go for a little bit. I want to set the float rod up in this swim as well. And then, as I say, we've been here for 20 minutes or so, I'd say. Had a couple of fish. Sometimes you don't get more than that in small rivers, you have to move on. No harm in coming back a bit later, I suppose. Sometimes the pike turn up, there are pike in here. Anything can happen, I suppose, but always good to have a little wander around. We're about 20 minutes from the car, so I normally plan to fish the top stretch of the river and then start making my way back, I guess. But we'll see how the day goes. As I say, it's not that we have to move, it's not that I have to fish after this. Depends how this morning goes. I mean, I have fished this river before where, you know, I haven't had anything. I have fished it where we've done, you know, reasonably well. And look, I'm out having a nice day. It's overcast, perfect conditions. It's an autumn day. There's a bit of a breeze, a bit of a slow storm yesterday, and that's all quieting down now. Wasn't much rain. I know we've had rain in other parts of the country not far from here. So the river does look quite clear. The overcast day does help. But what I really want to do today is run the float down the river. I've got my setup just down there. It's not built yet, but I'll go through that when we do it. I'll probably build that up in this swim and just show you what I'm using. I absolutely love running a float down the river. There's plenty of dace in here. You've got grayling, you've got roach, you've got chub, perch. So you know, you never know what you're going to get, isn't it? Just a little bit of fun. So I said bites have dried up a little bit now. Probably because I'm waffling on a little bit, to be honest. So there's some geese flying past there. Some lovely wildlife this morning. A few dog walkers walking past as well, probably wondering who I'm talking to. But yeah, we've had a couple of fish, so we'll see how we get on. Okay, so I'm now set up the float rod. Not much happening on the ledger, so as I say, I wanted to float, so that's what I'm doing. So just go through the tackle review. I've got Diamond Ninja reel. I've got the centre pin with me as well if I want to change later on. I love using a pin. So I've brought one of them with me. So we'll see what we do later on. I've got a Shakespeare Mach 1, old 12-foot match rod. A little bit of a story behind this. I use this for everything, and I hope my other half's dad isn't watching this, because he actually gave this to my daughter. He found it at a local tip and gave it to my daughter when she was 3. She's 14 now, so I don't think she's really into, well, she isn't into fishing anymore. So I'm sure she'll have no problem me using it. On the float side, I've got a Drennan loafer float, 2.4 gram. It's a clear float, so with that 2 rubbers there. I'm using that because it's quite pacey water, as you can see behind me there. So I'll get a little bit more control over that. I probably wouldn't use something that heavy even in the small river. If I could get away with it, I'd use sort of a 6 number 4 float, and I might nip over to that later on. It's a clear float, so hopefully the fish won't see it. As I say, they're not massively pressured here. But what that does allow me to do as well is I've got a couple of colours of this. So I've got a yellow one as well, so if light levels do change, I mean, I'll run it through a couple of times, the red's absolutely fine. I've got a black band there, so I can move that up and that can mask it a little bit as well. I love olivettes, so I've got an inline 2-gram olivette there, and I like to put float stop, all that kind of thing in between it, so I can slide up the line. And then, I don't know if you can see that there, I've got the stots. I love using those as well, down to I think it's a size 18 swivel, I think, which I tie my own rigs. Not difficult to do, you're not paying £3 a pack for rigs, down to I think a £2 reflow fluorocarbon, another dropper shot down the bottom there, which again is a Stots smaller shot, and actually I'm starting with quite a big hook. It's a size 16 Drennan micro barb super specialist hook, which I absolutely love. I'm not sponsored by anyone, by the way, but I love these hooks. I love the floats, and I think I'll just get a bit more control moving through this swim with a slightly heavier float. So that's the idea. Still going to fish that inside line. I've been feeding it steadily with a bit of maggot and a bit of the crumb that I had in my bucket left over as well. So going to run it through here, and then if we don't get any joy, I'm going to get on my toes and move a few swims down and see if we can pick anything up there. Right, I've just moved on now. Was going to go into a swim just down there, but a couple of lovely Labradors come along and thought they'd go for a swim. So that's that one knackered for a little bit of time, but never mind. So just gone on to this bend here to show you a little bit around. There's a bend that comes through around there. Not really anywhere I can fish above it, unfortunately. So off the back of the bend here, we've got a little bit of a straight run, which goes all the way down here to some bushes going down. It shallows up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just run the float through, I think, for a little bit, and just nothing else much doing in the other swim on the float. I did have a little perch, wasn't worth getting the camera set up for. Nice to have all the same. That was on a bit of worm that I just trotted down. So yeah, a couple of roach so far. I've only been here about an hour or so, I think, so it's all good. Lovely wildlife around today. Loads of dog walkers keep looking at me thinking I'm absolutely mad chatting into a camera, but there we go. First time doing that, so we will plod on. Get anything good, I'll turn the camera back on. Got a fish on there. First drop down. Yeah, not a netter. Nice swinging in. Lovely little dace. I've had a few from this this swim I'm in. I've come up the bank a little bit because it's very, very slippery down there. All down underneath that overhanging bush just there, right in the middle. So I had quite a few. I've just kept a few in the net. It's very difficult to get on camera down there because it's very, very slippery. But look at the size of that for a gudgeon. Lovely. Yeah. Fantastic. Fantastic size gudgeon for here. And you know, a couple of roach, only small, this kind of sort of that size. Doing very poorly with the camera, I can see. Move that down a little bit. So that kind of size, but pristine little fish. Let's have a look at that gudgeon again now. I've got the angle better. Not very good at this, am I? Yeah, look at that. Stunning little gonk. Most people's first fish. Not mine. I think mine was a pollock. And then plenty of these little dace. Lovely fish. Right, I'm going to pop them back now and move downstream a little bit to where those Labradors were sort of half an hour or so ago. hopefully that swims. Now not add any more dogs in it, but we will see. Okay, move swim now to the swim that the dogs were in a little while ago. It's been about an hour since that happened, so hopefully it's settled down a little bit from then. So what we've got here is we've got a unfortunate tree just in the middle of the swim there, but we're going to have to cast in front of that to trot down. And then we've got a pool around here, which slows up. It does deepen up a little bit in the middle there, I think, as well, from memory. And we'll see how it goes. I'm going to trot down and then maybe do a bit of ledger in there as well. And then if we get really bored, it looks like there's a rope swing there, so should have bought me swimming trunks because I had to go on that as well. Let's see how we get on. Well, that was quite productive, this swim, for sort of 20 minutes or so. A lot of small dace, sort of ounce or a couple of ounces, which were coming up for the maggot, trotting it down. Switched to bread, didn't have much on bread, but a couple of reasonable roach, and just one resting the net here, a surprise grayling, which I won't get out because they're absolutely wiry to get out. But that's the best roach, so only a few ounces, but similar stamp to what we've had before. And then it's just coming into season shortly. It's horrible to hold those, they're falling back into the net, so they're hitting the mesh. But yeah, just 3 fish there, so a grayling and a couple of roach in there that are gonna go back now. And the thing with grayling is obviously you've got to rest them up. They like to go belly up a little bit, so he's been resting for a couple of minutes now and swam away strongly there. So just going to try on the tip, I think, now on here, this nice little pool. It is a bit difficult to show you really, but going down there, I don't know if you can see, but it is a bit, there's a lot of bits on the bottom, there's a lot of streamer weed, a lot of different, what I'm basically trying to say is it's quite difficult to control the throat for getting it straight, and there's a little bit, lots of depth, so actually you know, bouncing around a swan shot might be a better thing to do there, because I'm sure there's some bigger fish down there. It looks nice, it slows up again, it goes around a bend, so it looks like it could be a good fish holding area. We've had no dogs come in either in the last half an hour. A couple have tried, but they've seen me and they've scarpered off, so that's a good thing. But I'd imagine it does get a little bit of pressure. There's quite a lot of people walking around dogs, which is absolutely fine. It is a nature reserve. But yeah, there has been a few coming and going. So we'll give it another half hour or so on the feeder here. As I say, I'm sorry it's difficult for me to get any footage of it. Hopefully I can move on to a straighter run a little bit later on, which we can trot down if that's free, and maybe get a bit of footage. It's going to be difficult to see a float. I haven't really got the setup for that yet. But that's why I'm trying to keep a couple of fish back so you can see what I'm catching. But plenty of fish so far today. Only done an hour and a half, I think, so far, roughly, something about that. So yeah, really pleasant. So we're going to put the feed around, might put a worm on. Looks like a little bit, might be a perch holding area as well. Could be some chub around here, and hopefully 1 or 2 bigger roach. So we'll have a go on the feeder, keep a couple in the net, and if I get any more, we'll come back on and have a look at them. Well, I've moved down a bit further now to this straight swim I was talking about. I've got a bank of bushes behind me that are kind of shelter me from the wind a little bit. It did start raining a little bit ago, so just off the main bend here, and it just comes round into this straight and then bends just round there again. It's a little bit deeper down the middle, so I've been chucking out a little bit of this just slightly upstream so it feeds down, just with a little bit of maggot in it. So it's just going down, sinking down round about here, I would say, on the bottom, and then it's going to flow down here. It does show up a little bit. You can see the water's been up a little bit higher at times. There's a little bit of debris that wasn't here last time I fished it last year. But you can see people have actually been fishing it, so that's good. Hopefully not this morning, but there we go. If they have, they have. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to run a float through here, and if I start getting a few bites, I might put the camera back on. Just had the first trot down and did get a couple of little knocks, so I'm going to take a chance and just the middle there. Don't need to feed much in these smaller rivers. In fact, if you feed too much, then you might ruin your chances already. So I've only chucked a couple of very, very small balls in, just holding the float back there, bringing it back, and holding it back so it just flutters up and down the water column. I think it's about 5 or 6 foot here. Dimpled a little bit, then it might just be small fish attacking it, more than likely. Expect it around about here to get in the bites. There we go. Like I planned that. Not very big. It is a little roach. Only a small one, but it's a roach all the same. Beautiful colours on them. What I'm going to do is, again, I've got the net there just to keep a couple in, and I'll release every time I get 3 or 4. Just release them just upstream there. Doesn't always happen, but I do find sometimes that if you put roach back into the swim, they do spook them off. I don't know if it's an old wives' tale, but I certainly have found that on other bits of river I fished, and it's quite clear today, so it's quite feasible that you could chuck one back and it could spook the rest of the shoal there. So we'll just keep a couple in the net, 3 or 4 or so, and I'll just put them back up there. Chuck a couple more bits and pieces out so it just comes down, and then hopefully you might be able to get a couple of bigger ones in the net. So this swim's been very kind to me in the past. Been around half an hour, 40 minutes since I last put the video on, and yeah, weather's starting to change again. It's been really good. I did change a little bit. I did say that every 3 fish I would go and put them back up there, but I forgot I actually had my keep net with me, long keep net, so I did actually put that in because I was catching one at a time to go on. Which was good. I've had quite a lot of roach, I've had some lovely dace, another big gudgeon, bigger than the one before, and some perch. And I have got them in the net, resting there, so I've transferred them from the landing, the keep net to my deep landing net. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera off a minute and turn it on just so you can see the rest of the fish that I've got in the net. But yeah, it was one to chuck for a while, and unfortunately now I've run out of bait, so I've got to go. But I'll turn the camera on in a minute with just be able to show you some of the fish that we've got in the net down there. So there we go. See some of the landing net. I'm just keen, I don't want to stress them out too much. They're going to be released, but there's a good load of roach and that in there. Don't want to lift them up too long. There's some chub, some dace, a few perch under there as well, and a lovely big gudgeon, which you can see on top there. Sun's coming up now. So that's that then. So short river session on the river Blackwater, Southern River Blackwater. I'm conscious there's quite a few of them down in Southampton. Why did I want to do my first video on a small river? Just going back to what we know and love from when we're younger, or when I was younger. That's how I started, not on this particular river, on a small river near to my home, and it's something that's always stayed with me in the last 30 odd years since I've been fishing. Just being out, running a float down a river, not caring what you're going to catch. Something magical about that. I mean, today I've had, was it 5 different species? I've had grayling, I've had roach, I've had dace, I've had small chub, I've had perch. You know, that's, in my book, you know, for 2 or 3 hours fishing, that's really good. I don't know how many fish I've had. There was probably 20 plus in the net there, I would have said, maybe a few more than that. So I've probably had around 50, 60 fish in that time. And I'm excited about coming back in the winter. I mean, I've fished this a few times and had some nice roach. Roach is what I was predominantly after today. As I said, the river has been kind to me in the past. The half a dozen times I have fished it. and just that running afloat down the river, been absolutely lovely. I did see a small pike over there earlier on, but it didn't worry the fish. They carried on feeding, and they'll still be feeding now. I do have rod up there just while I'm packing up, just with a worm on it, to see if there's any perched up underneath that tree there. But as I said, I've had a really good few hours. Always wanted to do the first video on a small river. This afternoon I'm thinking about going and doing something else. That'll form another video. If I do go and do that, it does feel like it's getting perchy again, but really enjoyed it, you know. Just being out small river fishing, a couple of pints of maggots, a bit of ground bait, bit of bread, you know, it's been absolutely wonderful. So good luck in your own angling if you're out and about, and I'll see you on the next video.